8:05 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mini-me. Governor Deval Patrick is now on the offensive. He now says that people are misguided about his plan. They don't understand. They're misinformed about his plan to shelter and house at least 1,000 Central American illegal immigrants. And the comments that he heard from officials in Bourne on Cape Cod, they were coarse. They were not very friendly. They don't seem to be laying down for him. And he's not happy. And so Mini-Me said that, you know what, the problem with the people of Massachusetts, they just don't seem to understand the issue the way he does. Roll it, Brittany.
I think he was left with the impression that folks weren't all that interested in the facts. There were comments about things like, we don't want these people in our neighborhood. We moved to the Cape in order to be away from people like this, and things that are very coarse and I think unhelpful, and frankly don't deal with the realities of the situation.
Yeah. How does bringing 1,000 in, Mini-Me, on top of the 9 plane loads, on top of the 100,000 that we already have? Tell me, Mini-Me, how does this help the situation? Can you explain that one to me, Mini-Me? 617-266-6868 is the number. When he says they are just going to remain in the state temporarily, do you believe him? Or like me, do you think he's lying through his teeth? Jim, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Hey, Jeff. First of all, we know he's lying. There's no doubt about that. But what I wanted to call about is the $25,000 that he vetoed for the severely handicapped kids up in his district.
Yes.
Well, it's not actually just his district. All these communities up here, the kids, the high school kids volunteer, and kids come. I've heard of people driving over 2 hours to get to this community to bring their severely handicapped child so they could participate in, just say, one of the programs is soccer, and the high school kids volunteer, and they see a smile on their child's face for once, and they literally drive 2 hours plus to get here, and they're so happy about this program, and he vetoed that $25,000 for this area, and they open it to anybody that can come here. And these kids, the high school kids, like I said, they totally volunteer, and they take their time out and do this for the community kids as well as people that drive from large distances,
Jim, honestly, I don't know what kind of a human being you are when you have no compassion for your own citizens in your own state, some of the weakest, most disadvantaged among you. We're talking about the severely special needs. You can't, $25,000, that's chump change on Beacon Hill. That's nothing. That's peanuts. And you've got no money for them, but you've got unlimited amounts of money for strangers, for gangbangers, for criminals?
Exactly, and the community kids volunteer, and like I said, this isn't just for Jim Maselli's district. People just want to see, they hear about the program, and they see a smile on their child's face for the first time, and they drive, like I said, and I'm not lying, they drive 2 hours plus to get here.
Oh, I believe
because
you, Jim.
It's not often their child can get involved in something like this.
Jim, thank you very much for that call. Look, that's the kind of guy Mini-Me is. I told you, he's Diablo Patrick. The man, to me, is a disgrace on every level. As a man, as a leader, as a governor. To me, the sooner he leaves, the better. And what I find incredible is he lectures us on being charitable and how we have to be compassionate and tolerant and have respect for diversity. And this guy sits on 77 acres up in the Berkshires in a $5 million mansion. He's worth north of $60 million. And this guy won't spend a penny to take in any one of these children. So, you take them in, you pay for them, you foot the bill, have your child sit next to one and, God forbid, get tuberculosis. Or in Lynn, if you're sitting beside a 40-year-old guy with gray hair, maybe your daughter in the 9th grade gets raped. But for Mini-Me, no. He's the compassionate one, Mini-Me. This to me is incredible. And his word, let me ask all of you this. Remember when he promised to cut property taxes? You remember that one? Instead, I'm still waiting for my property tax cut. $8,500 I had to pay, Mini-Me. I could use a nice little tax cut, Mini-Me. Instead, property tax is up 20 to 30%. The sales tax up 25%. Remember he said he was going to get to the bottom of the drug lab scandal? Thousands of convicted felons released onto the streets. 64 dead in the New England Compounding Center scandal alone. The probation department scandal? One hack after another. Nothing. And you want to lecture us on the children? Under your watch, nearly 140 kids have gone dead or missing? I've got two words for you. Jeremiah Oliver. That poor young boy found dead in a suitcase because your DCF dropped the ball? And you hung on to Olga Roche literally like she was the last Coca-Cola in the desert. It's incredible. He said he was going to clean up DCF. He lied. He said he was going to clean up the probation department. He lied. He said he was going to cut our property taxes. He lied. He said he was going to implement the healthcare connector without any glitches. He lied. Everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is a lie. And now, you expect me to believe that now, all of a sudden, he's found Jesus. All of a sudden now, he's citing scripture. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be there for 4 months. That's it. No, 4. Take my word for it. 4 months. You phony, you fraud, you. Only in this state could you get elected, you loser. 617-266-6868 is the number. Vinny, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Vinny.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi.
Jeff, I think the situation with the illegal alien children, obviously is the tip of the iceberg, but that is the straw that broke the camel's back in Massachusetts and across the country. After we solve this problem and we get them out, what needs to happen is we need to go after the other 20 million illegal aliens and deal with that. At least it's in the news, it's on the conscience of America. People are thinking about it, people are dealing with it, they're protesting and so on. But with all our illegal aliens in Massachusetts alone, you talked about things that we can't do for vets, we can't take care of our own children, our own house, our own state. When we free up $1.8 billion to support a dependent class of illegal aliens, we will be clearly helping Massachusetts. And when other states can do the same thing, America will be better off for it. And as you say, we're closed for 5 years. We're gonna fix our own country. That's how I feel about it.
I agree with you, Vinny. Closed for renovation. That's it.
Closed for renovation.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See you in 5 years.
You got it.
The party's over.
Years. And also on top of that, Jeff, I'm just going to go out and a little left field on this and make this point. Obviously, the deal leader is concerned about the fall election losing the Senate. If he does, and if the Republicans have the courage to go through with an impeachment, I believe you are going to see Obama resign before an impeachment vote. I think that's what he wants because it would enable him to become the biggest rogue president. He will do his best to do more damage on the outside than the inside.
That's interesting.
But your thoughts on it?
That's very interesting, Vinny. Look, everything I'm hearing right now is he's petrified of losing in November. and they're going to pull every dirty trick in the book. They're going to play every race card, war on women, whatever demagogic issue they can use to try to keep hold of the Senate, because he knows it's going to be investigation after investigation after investigation, and that criminal gang is going to collapse like a house of cards. But getting back to Mini-Me, remember the tolls on the Pike? How many times has that been temporary? I go through it every day. Every day. I know people here just call it Pike, but I call it the Pike. I don't know why, I just call it the Pike. So, every day, $1.25. Oh, you guys call it the Pike too? Okay. So, what do I say that upset? Is it the 95? You guys just call it the 95, right? Okay, anyway, whatever it is. Okay, I don't know why. I just like to put the in front of things, but let that go. I go through the Pike every day. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. $1.25 every time. And it's the same slobs taking my money every time. There's one guy in particular. I don't think this guy showered in 6 months. He looks like Grizzly Adams. I swear to you. He's got this, mother unkept beard. And he's huge. He's got to be at least 350, 400 pounds. I don't know how this guy fits into that toll. And one day, somebody's going to find a dead body back there. And he just sticks his hand out. To me, that's the embodiment of this state. Everybody's got their hand out in the taxpayer's pocket. He just doesn't even say hello, nothing. He's a complete slob. Not even good morning, hi, hello, thank you. The money's, it's my job, it pays for my job. He just sticks his hand out. I plunk in the $1.25, nothing. Then he just takes it in. Every morning. He sees me every morning. That's this state in a nutshell. That was supposed to be temporary. The tolls on the Tobin Bridge, that was temporary. The state income tax, that was temporary. Have you noticed? It's always temporary with these people until it's permanent. 617-266-6868. Dave, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Dave.
Yes, I'm really relishing in this. The annihilation of the angry white male is happening, and I love every minute of it. I know that the demographics are changing, that you're frightened. That's okay. I understand. But what the governor is doing is the right thing.
How is it the right thing?
The vile stuff that's coming out from right-wing talk radio.
No, come on. Stop it with that.
Unbelievable.
Stop it with the race garbage. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the color.
Race?
Nobody.
Yes,
turn him down. Turn him down. Nobody cares about the race of anybody coming in, and you know that. If they were coming in, there were illegals coming in from Russia, illegals coming in from Ireland, illegals coming in from Ukrainians. I denounce them just as much. So don't play that race card garbage with me. So my question to you is this, okay? Because all you have are these vicious ad hominem attacks, which means you don't have any serious arguments. Give me a credible, coherent argument why the governor is right. Go ahead.
The governor is correct because these individuals are refugees coming from a country that is in turmoil. We have had this country open for actually individuals like you because you're not a natural born American. Okay,
forget about me because I came here legally. I got work visas and I got a green card. So let that go.
But we need to see the proof of that, Jeff.
Excuse me?
We need to see the proof of that.
Whoa. You want whoa. I got to show you proof?
Yes. Why not?
Well, let me ask you this. Why do I got to show you proof?
The president for proof?
No. Hey, by your reasoning. No. Hey.
Yeah,
by your reasoning. Turn him down. He's crazy. You can see that. Turn him. Listen. By your reasoning, I'm a refugee. I don't got to show you proof for anything. I'm a refugee. So, if the Central Americans can come in, how come you're preventing me from coming in? Genius.
Yes, but you can come here from a war-torn country or
well, I got news for you. Whoa. I got news for you.
Where?
Poverty, I got news for you. Hey, buddy, I got news for you.
Where'd you come from, Jeff?
Hold on. By your reasoning.
Come on, Jeff.
Hold on. El Salvador, Honduras, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala.
Jeff, I need you to get on the
It's been
website
poor.
and
It's
post
been
your
turn him
picture.
down. Turn him down. It's been poor for hundreds of years. So, if by your definition, we should allow all of them to come in, we should have been allowing them to come in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, just come on in, because according to you, anybody who comes from a poor country that has some violence is a refugee. Hello?
Look, Jeff.
What look?
The fact is, I want you to post your papers. I need you to post your papers because I don't believe you.
Okay, hey. What is this, Nazi Germany? You want my papers?
Yes.
Yes.
Why not?
Okay, all right, here.
You're not
Whoa. Okay, hey, genius. Okay, listen. I love this. Okay, I'll tell you what. How much you want to bet?
Look, Jeff.
No. How much you want to bet? What do you want to bet? I will bet you. What's your house worth? Hey, genius, what's your house worth?
I need you to post your paperwork.
What's your public housing? You don't have a house?
Yeah, Jeff, that's the old argument.
The old argument. I'll bet you. What do you want to bet? $1,000? $5,000? Whoa, stop it.
On the WRK
okay, all right, turn him down. You're saying I'm a liar. No problem. I will bet you $1,000. I'll bet you $5,000. I'll bet you $10,000. $50, $100. I'll take a mortgage on my house, $500,000. Dave, you never have to work another day in your life. $500,000. I came here completely legally, 2 H-1B visas, 1 green card, $23,647. I'll even give you the exact figure. You want to take the bet?
Jeff, I need you to prove that.
I'll take the bet.
I need you to prove
No. You're not God. I don't need to prove. You're not the Fuhrer. I don't need to prove anything to you. I'm challenging you. I am challenging you to a bet. You're calling me a liar, so I'll settle this right now. I will bet any money that you want. Then I'll show you my papers. Put your money where your mouth is, you fraud.
Jeff, I don't believe you.
I don't care. Fine. Put your money where your mouth is.
You may be a illegal alien.
Fine. Put your money where your mouth is. How much you want to bet? You don't believe me. How much?
Everyone else's papers, but you don't produce your papers.
They don't have any papers, you moron.
Well, where's your papers?
I got them. You want to see them? How much? I'll bet you. How much?
Can you post them on the site, Jefferson?
How much? How much?
Can you post them?
I don't have any. Listen, I have no obligation to divulge personal information that gives out my address and the information of my family, so kooks like you can maybe do some damage or threaten my family. But I'll tell you this. I'll make you a very rich man if you're confident. No. If you're confident. Hey, wacko, how much you want to bet?
So Jeff Kuhner,
how much? You're a coward. How much do you want to bet, you coward?
No, Jeff, you want to see everyone else's papers, but you
How much? How much? If you're here illegally, I definitely want to see your papers.
Jeff, you are illegal. Jeez.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay, so hey, fine. Report me to ICE. Turn him down. You see how crazy he is? You see how these libs, when they can't hang? See, look, they don't know how to argue. They're going berserk. Look at them. Report me to ICE. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, KUHNER. Make a complaint. Have immigration show up at my doors. Believe me. But I'm challenging you. I'll show you my papers. You're so confident that I'm lying. Okay. I will make you a very rich man. Name your price. $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000. Put up whatever you have, and I'll put up whatever I have. Come on, you coward. Come on, go ahead. But when Mayor Kennedy of Lynn wants to see people's papers in school, oh, she's a racist. But when you have Jeff Kuhner, who came here legally and paid through the nose, show your papers. Fine, I'll show you my papers. Let's make a bet. You don't believe me, you loser. Put up your money. He hung up. See, my friends? They're all talk, no action, because deep down, these progressive liberals are cowards. 617-266-6868. The asylum is calling, Dave. The bell is ringing. 828 here on the great WRKO. You can text us at 680-680, and of course 617-266-6868 is the number. Jeff, you shouldn't have, this is from 508. Jeff, you shouldn't have let that Dave get away with his, quote, angry white male comment. What, women and other minorities aren't opposed to illegal immigrants also? African Americans are opposed. Many Hispanics are opposed. Women are opposed. No, look, he's one of Deval Patrick's poodles and minions. I've been getting death threats now. It's been about a week since we announced this push for the rally. A lot of threats via email and others. The liberals are afraid. It's been about a month now. I'm noticing many more police cars coming around my house. They're harassing me. They're looking at my plates. They're looking at my house. They're going to try to find something. I'm going to get audited. I'm telling you right now. I've told my accountant already. We're getting audited. I pay more. I'm telling you, I pay more. Pay more. Just pay more. I told pay more. But Jeff, you can take that deduction. Pay more. So, you want to look at my immigration papers? No problem. Be my guest. Trust me. Be my guest. That's how you survive in a liberal communist regime. You have to be beyond reproach. And don't let them scare or intimidate you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Got time for a quick call. Joey, you're up next. Ray, you're up next. Let's go to Ray. Oh, Joey? Okay. Joey, you're on. Thanks for holding. Go.
Hey, Jeff, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Joey?
I am doing fantastic. I just got a couple ideas on this whole immigration thing. First off, any city that wants to say that they're a sanctuary city and won't enforce federal immigration law forfeits all federal funding for any and all programs.
Oh, I love it. I think you're dead. I love that idea. That's another great idea, Joey. 8:30 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. I kid you not. Brittany and Cooksey will tell you this. They want me to wear a bulletproof vest for Saturday's rally. They're petrified that the Daves of this world may show up and it could be the last day the Kuhner man ever sees on this earth. I've told them, keep your bulletproof vest. The likes of Dave don't scare me. 8:31 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next. 8:39 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up maybe the mother lode of liberal bull. Deval Patrick's plan to house and shelter at least 1,000 Central American illegal immigrants. Opposition is growing. It is spreading. Cape Cod, Chicopee. It's now growing and growing. Lynn, Chelsea, town after town, city after city is saying no mas, no more. 617-266-6868. The progressives they're enraged. They're seeing red. And the shock troops, the fanatics, the minions of the mini-me regime, sending death threats to the Kuhner man. I usually get about 3 or 4 a week. I've gotten about 17 in the last week. There's more intensity. People threatening to maybe shoot me at the rally. I'm getting a lot of that. They're very angry with me because they don't like to see real opposition to this regime. And so Grace, my wife, has been saying I should wear a bulletproof vest. Cooksey yesterday is urging me to wear a bulletproof vest. Brittany is telling me that I should be wearing a bulletproof vest. Brittany, do you still think I should have a bulletproof vest? I think she's answering the phone right now. But there was that's what she's saying. Better safe than sorry. They were very nervous yesterday. They're saying, Jeff, there's a lot of people gunning for you right now. Now, I have noticed, I've said this before, it's sort of what Michael Dukakis did to Howie in the late 80s when he became almost public enemy number one for the Dukakis corrupt regime. I'm seeing a lot more police officers on my street. They're stopping at my house. They're checking my license plates. They're checking my car. I don't know why they're there. So the harassment is beginning now to intensify. My accountant has told me, Jeff, you're going to get audited. Just take this to the bank. They're going to try to find something to destroy you and your family. Pay more. Just pay. Kevin, pay more. He says, Jeff, but no, really, you can take these deductions. I buy a lot of books. You can deduct these. Kevin, I don't want to hear about deductions. Pay more. I go to church. I give money. Jeff, write a check. You can deduct. I pay cash. I don't want a deduction. Pay more. Just pay more. That's it. They can't touch me. 617-266-6868. I'm not going to be wearing a bulletproof vest. I don't know why. I'm not afraid. They don't scare. I swear. I don't have a martyr complex. I'm not looking to get shot. To be honest with you, it hurts when you get shot. Really. I mean, I don't like pain. Believe me, I'm no tough guy. The last thing I want is to have somebody shoot me. Believe me. It hurts. I don't like pain. I'm not a tough guy. I'm not afraid. They just, honestly, these communist thugs didn't intimidate my grandfather. They didn't intimidate my father. They don't intimidate me. Well, that's the thing. Technically, liberals are supposed to be afraid of guns. But boy, they love them when they want to aim it at the Kuhner man. 617-266-6868 is the number. Ray, you're up next. Thanks for patiently holding. Go ahead, Ray. Hello, Ray.
Yes, Jeff?
Hi, Ray, you're on the air.
Hi, how you doing? Good morning. How you doing today? I just wanted to touch upon a few things with you, in case your listeners don't know. The state of Massachusetts, the way we fund our schools in urban gateway communities such as Lynn, Chelsea, Brockton, for example, a majority of our money comes from state funding called Chapter 70 funding. This funding actually they do a census on October 1st, and then they cut a check to the city in July of the next year. If these children arrive in our school system after October 1st, they have to wait an additional October 1st before we even count them in the census, which means we don't see dime one for anybody for 18 months. So most school systems in the urban gateway communities, such as Brockton, for example, we're already at a loss before we even begin to take more children on. So if we take more kids, it's just going to devastate our school system.
Ray, listen, what you're saying is almost what you're 110% right. Every school superintendent in the Commonwealth is saying that. And it's not just Massachusetts, it's all over the country. That's why you've had these rallies spontaneously spread everywhere. Nobody wants them. Now, stand back. Look, just objectively. Okay, stand back. Martin O'Malley, one of the most liberal Democratic governors in the nation, says no more in Maryland. We can't. Maybe the Moonsbat, really, Malloy in Connecticut. Him and Mini-Me. I don't know who's more left-wing. An ultra-liberal Democrat, Connecticut. No, we don't want them. The Democrats are saying we don't want them. And still, Mini-Me persists. The man's a fanatic. And his followers are a bunch of fanatics. And the only way you deal with fanatics is you stand up to them. Because when everything is said and done, trust me when I tell you this, they're all smoke and no fire. They're all talk and no action. Deep down, they're cowards and they're bullies. And they have been bullying the people of this state for too long. Because the people of this state have been coward and apathetic and complacent for too long. The only power they have is the power you give them. Remember this. We're the economic backbone of this entire country and of this state. And they want to convince you, the media and the elites in this state and in this country, that you're a minority. You're not. You're the silent majority. And your taxes and your money and your labor, the sweat off your brow, is what finances the entire system. Your refusal to acquiesce, your refusal to bow down and take it, is an act of revolution. It is an act of defiance. It is an act of power. It scares them to their very core, because then they can't stop you. I said this the first day I came on the air. The conservatives of Massachusetts are the Chicago Cubs of American politics. In your mind, you think you've lost before you've even gotten onto the battlefield. I said I will make an army out of these conservatives if it's the last thing I do. And now, my friends, this army has arisen. This army is on the move. This silent majority has finally awoken. A sleeping giant has finally risen. That's why Mini-Me's petrified. That's why the Democrats are petrified. That's why the dear leader is petrified. Because finally, we're apathetic and complacent no longer. Your presence at the rally is a dagger aimed at the heart of this regime. Every single one of you that shows up shows that this regime can no longer threaten us, can no longer bully us, can no longer cower us. Honestly, forget feeling threatened by him or being afraid of him. I hold him in contempt. I look at Mini-Me and I see an empty suit who has gotten the beneficiary of affirmative action every step of his life. He's a buffoon masquerading as a governor. And now is the time we finally expose him. 617-266-6868. Jennifer, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
I really like your show, and I just had a comment about caller Dave. From the way he was ranting, it sounds like he is your toll booth collector, and you should never have poked that bear.
I'm with you, Jennifer. Carlos, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Carlos?
Good, good. 2 quick points, Jeff.
Sure.
As a Latino, I got to bring a unique perspective because my mom and dad came here in 1971 the correct way on a work visa. They did their time, retired, and went back to their motherland in DR. And I watched as I grew up. My father worked the overtime hours to pay the attorney's fees, follow this paperwork, and get the rest of my brothers and sisters here. That says a lot about an individual who's willing to come to this country, pay the price, and contribute. That means a lot to me. So this model of bringing all these kids over here and the parents just dumping them on the borders, I will tell you from a business standpoint, it is a failed business model. You cannot have a limited amount of resources and more people pooling at those resources, because this is what happened in the inception of this country. When you watched a lot of people going after the same resources, you had the slavery happening in this country, and it bled organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, all this other stuff going on. So this is a strain on already very, very limited resources.
Carlos, my friend, I love you. In a non-homosexual way, Carlos. I love you, my friend. Thank you so much for that call, buddy. 617-266-6868. Kevin, you're up next. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, over 22 months, I just heard you say the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard on the radio. You have an obligation to Grace. You have an obligation to Ava, Ashton, and you do not pronounce to these people. Tell them, as I shared with David Fields, how militant they have got. You know, I'm a stand-up guy. Someone overhears me at Fenway Park. This buffoon, this 6'3", followed me out of the park to my car. Now, I could have leveled this guy. You know what? We don't stand up to them. We walk away. Even with Mike, okay, as John said, all right, we need to accept them and hopefully that they turn. But you need to protect yourself, Jeff. I shared with
Kevin,
you
look, don't worry. Honestly,
look, in San Marcos, San Pedro, they're all coffee thinkers in Guatemala, been to Belize, Honduras. Let me tell you, these are peaceful places. When they're shoveling that they're crime-ridden, they are not. And I had an immigration attorney telling me about an 8-year-old son, youngster that he's representing. If he goes back, he's going to the bathroom in the hole, and he may be killed. I says, what? No. As you know from covering stories all over the world, even in theater, in civil strife, there is no policy to kill children, to take children's lives. They frown upon it on every side, as you know.
Kevin, look,
I'd like you to add on to that.
Thank you for that call, Kevin. No, look, Central America has been poor for centuries. You think all of a sudden now they're suddenly poor? You think all of a sudden now they have violence in Central America? This has been going on for hundreds of years. So by the left's definition, we should be taking them in from Central America for the last 300 years. It's ridiculous. Now, as for security, look, honestly, I am going to have a bit more security. RKO is going to provide it. So don't worry. Everything is going to be fine. Nothing is going to happen. We are going to take some precautions. You're probably going to see a few big, beefy guys around me when we give the speech. We'll have political people there as well. So obviously there's going to be some security. By the way, I've asked Cooksey to stay beside me. So I'm just going to hold Cooksey, and as I talk, I'm just going to move his body in front of me, left and right. So I figure out if somebody's going to take the bullet, it might as well be Cooksey. But I don't fear him. Nothing's going to happen. They don't scare me. Trust me. All they're trying to do is rattle my cage. It's not going to work. 617-266-6868. They're petrified of this rally. Because if they see the numbers that we saw at Justina Pelletier, the same thing's going to happen to this plan that happened to Justina. We freed Justina, and we're going to send the illegals back home. 617-266-6868, 8:53 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next.
News at the top and bottom, talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.
Stop the invasion.
Join WRKO's Jeff Kuhner for the Stop the Invasion rally this Saturday starting at 11 a.m. on the steps of the State House.
This is more than just a rally. It is a chance to stand up to a government that feels they can do as they wish. Enough is enough.
Stop the Invasion rally Saturday at 11 a.m. at the State House.
Let's take the fight to them.
Bring a friend. Stop the invasion.
If not now, then when?
This Saturday starting at 11 a.m. on the steps of the State House.
If not us, then who? Here on the great WRKO, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. You can also text us at 680-680. So, my friends, please, I need all of you to show up in huge numbers this Saturday. We're less than 2 days away. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the steps of the State House. Stop the Invasion rally. So far, we have confirmed who are going to be coming. Shauna O'Connell will be speaking. Mayor of Lynn, Judy Kennedy, will be speaking. State Representative Leah Cole will be speaking. State Representative Mark Lombardo will be speaking. Mark Fisher, candidate for the governor for the Republican Party, will be speaking. We've also reached out to Charlie Baker, asked him to show up. So far, no response. And of course, I will be the keynote speaker. So, my friends, please come, be prepared, bring water bottles. If it's hot and humid, you want to make sure you're properly hydrated. There may be a small chance of rain. I don't think so, but so if you need to, bring an umbrella. Please show up, bring your friends, bring your family members, bring your relatives. The more that show up, believe me, the bigger statement we're going to be making. Now, there's a couple of other things going on around the world that I want to touch on. Huge, important developments. Now, Israel may be entering a different stage, a different phase in its offensive in the Gaza Strip. As you know, Israel has now been conducting a major anti-terrorist operation trying to dismantle Hamas's over 1,000 tunnels that they have dug underneath Gaza to smuggle in weapons, smuggle in rockets, smuggle in missiles that they have been using to target Israel really for the last 9 years. They've intensified this over the last several months. And as they have been launching rocket after rocket after rocket, finally the Israeli people and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have said enough is enough. And so now they're in the process of destroying and dismantling those tunnels. They are now targeting many of the Hamas military bases and military installations. They are degrading Hamas's terrorist military infrastructure. However, Hamas, as expected, is putting up extremely stiff resistance. So far, about 656 Palestinians have been killed. Over 30 Israelis, most of them soldiers, dead. Benjamin Netanyahu, though, wants to potentially deliver a knockout blow to Hamas. And so Israel's defense minister has now told Israeli soldiers to be ready for, quote, the next step. And it now appears from all indications, what we're seeing from the Israeli media, the Washington Post is reporting this as well, as is the Wall Street Journal. It now appears that the Israeli army is getting ready for an escalation and an expansion of its air and ground offensive. Netanyahu may be looking to deliver the knockout blow. Hamas is hunkering down. They have essentially booby-trapped much of the Gaza Strip, especially the urban areas. They want to turn this into a Stalingrad. They want to pin the Israelis down, block to block, neighborhood to neighborhood, in vicious urban street fighting. They see themselves as sort of the urban version of the Viet Cong. They see themselves as urban guerrillas that they believe can bleed Israel by killing them one by one by one. What is now dramatically escalating the situation potentially is there are now reports that Hezbollah, also allied with Iran, in Lebanon, who have been fighting, they've been doing a lot of fighting in neighboring Syria. It now looks like Hezbollah from the north, also committed to Israel's destruction. Hezbollah may now be entering the fray. They may join Hamas in a two-prong assault on Israel, which means then we may have a wider Middle East war brewing in the Middle East. So Netanyahu now, under pressure from the United States, under pressure from the United Nations, under pressure from the international community, who want an immediate ceasefire, now has a fundamental decision to make. Will he step up the offensive and try to deliver a quick knockout blow, or now will he pull back? The indications are that he's going to go ahead with an all-out offensive. The key for the Israelis, and I mentioned this to Cooksey yesterday, is they do not have the luxury of time. A prolonged war in the Gaza Strip is going to inflame the international community even more. It is going to inflame the Middle East even more, and is most likely going to drive Obama and Kerry to put even more pressure on Israel. So for the Israelis, this has to be a blitz. It has to be a quick strike, a quick knockout blow. The longer this thing drags out, the more Hamas feels that they can humiliate Israel and turn the tide of international opinion decisively against the Jewish state. What is to me despicable, frankly unforgivable, is that now there are reports coming, the Washington Post is confirming this. This is coming from the State Department. This is coming from Jean-François Pepe Le Pew's own office and the Israelis, that John Kerry is not putting pressure on Hamas. He's not putting pressure on the Islamist terrorists who want to wipe the Jews and drive them into the sea. But he is putting pressure on Israel to stop the fighting. He's condemning Israel, not Hamas. He blames Israel and not Hamas for what's taking place in Gaza. And so they are slowly, subtly, behind the scenes, tightening the screws into Netanyahu, tightening the screws into Israel. And it's an open secret in Israel that the recent ban, which has now just been lifted by the Federal Aviation Agency, the FAA, banning all U.S. commercial airline flights to Israel, was clearly an attempt to pressure the Israelis, to squeeze the Israelis, to economically blackmail the Israelis. Because Israel is a small country. It depends, a lot of its economy depends upon trade and upon tourism, especially in the summertime. And so Jean-Francois and the dear leader, Pepe and the dear leader, used the excuse of a rocket landing near one of Israel's main airports from Hamas. Our planes would be in jeopardy. We can't fly. No American jet airliner now can fly. The Europeans seized on this and they said the same thing. And so that was a way to try to economically, commercially isolate and put pressure on Israel. In other words, we're stabbing them in the back. That's what Obama is doing. He's doing everything possible to put obstacles and hinder Israel's ability to effectively prosecute this war and this offensive against these Islamist butchers in Gaza. And as this is going on, as we are slowly but surely undermining Israel, isolating Israel, stabbing Israel in the back, tightening the screws into Israel, you want to see how far American power and American prestige and American influence has fallen? You could not make this up if you wanted to. Pepe Le Pew feels that he's so important that he has to negotiate this ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. And so he gets on a flight. He defies his own FAA ban, but let that go. He then gets on a plane with his little team of negotiators, and he rushes to Israel. And the Israelis basically tell him, we got nothing to say to you. Our fight is with Hamas. We don't want to stop until Hamas is decapitated. Hamas tells them, we're not interested. We want this blockade completely lifted. We want victory over Israel. So then he goes to Cairo to meet the president of Egypt. Now remember, this is very important. What did we do to the Egyptian people just a couple years ago, courtesy of the dear leader? We imposed the Muslim Brotherhood, that terrorist organization. We put them in power. We financed them. We supported them. We trained them. And then they unleashed a wave of terror upon the people of Egypt. They slaughtered dissidents. They burned down churches. They murdered Christians. Thousands were butchered. Sharia law was imposed. It got so bad there were massive protests on the streets to bring the army back and have a military coup. And so the military came back into power, overthrew the Muslim Brotherhood. Mohammed Morsi, the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, is now rotting in an Egyptian jail on charges of terrorism and treason. But what is being said all over Egypt by ordinary Egyptians and in the media, which our own media will not report, is that they say that America has a terrorist president, meaning the dear leader, who openly backed and supported a terrorist government in Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood. They can't stand this guy in Egypt. They're saying, you are the one that imposed these terrorists, these jihadists, the Muslim Brotherhood on us. You tried to impose an Islamic theocratic fundamentalist state on us. And so to pay back Jean-Francois, to pay back the dear leader, check this out. Carrie Pepe visits the president of Egypt, who's a general. He leads the military. And on his way to see him in the presidential palace, this is the Secretary of State, the second most powerful man in the world after the president. Unprecedented. They have him and his entire team go through a metal detector, as if somehow he poses a threat to the president and to the people of Egypt, that he may be carrying dangerous weapons, that he may be a terrorist. And not only do they have Pepe go through a metal detector, they even have the president's personal security guards with the metal detector wand go up his back, on his arms, up his legs, even around the crotch area. Wow, 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 wow. Looking to see if they detect any weapon or any gun or any knife or whatever. Utterly humiliating Jean-François Pepe Le Pew. They hate us so much. They hate Obama so much. They are now openly mocking and humiliating our own Secretary of State. That's how little they respect us. That's how far our prestige has fallen. That's how little influence and power we have. That our former greatest and most important ally in the Arab world so despises us, so dislikes us. They have our own Secretary of State go through metal detectors and have a metal detector wand put up his crotch. The only thing they didn't do was spit in his face. My friends, we are now living in a post-American world. Israel now essentially stands alone, and they are surrounded by Islamist jihadists who now want to destroy the Jews and finish what Hitler started. And that is why Israel is right to defend itself, and I believe that if Bibi Netanyahu does what his conscience is telling him to do, he should take the fight to Hamas, defeat the Islamists once and for all, and put the people of Israel first. 617-266-6868 is the number. Let me ask you two questions. Number one, what do you make of the fact that now our regime, the Obama regime, is now essentially stabbing Israel in the back and putting pressure on Israel? Is this a fundamental betrayal of our ally? And number two, did you ever think in your lifetime that our own Secretary of State would have a metal detector wand put up his crotch as he visits the president of Egypt? Have we now hit a new low? 617-266-6868, 921 on the great WRKO. All of your calls next. 925 here on the great WRKO. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us at 680-680. This is from 508. Jeff, I'm disappointed that the Egyptians didn't make Kerry strip down. No, 508, even the Egyptians have standards. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. Oh, my God. But please, don't show us anymore. This is from 978. Jeff, funny the metal detector wand didn't register the alleged shrapnel in Kerry's leg. Fraud. What shrapnel? He made that up like everything else about his service in Vietnam. That fraud. Jean-François Pepe Le Pew. You know, he was Rambo in Vietnam the way he speaks French. This is from 210. I like this text. Jeff, the Egyptians know that Obama is Muslim Brotherhood. How come we do not? Well, if you listen to Waleed Shubat on this show, he's been telling us that now for a while now. This is from 781. Hi, Jeff. Israel doesn't stand alone because the God of the Bible loves Israel and he's in control. Amen. From your lips to God's ears. my friend, 781. This is from 508. Jeff, Kerry's not a terrorist. He's a Democrat. Okay, I can see how a person could get confused. Russ, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Russ.
Should have opened his diplomatic pouch to see what Obama's orders were, and you'd know what his real intentions were in the Middle East. You know, as far as I'm concerned, Jeff, this is do or die for the Israelis. Kill them now or they will kill you later. There's no question that too many arms are getting in the wrong hands of people in the Middle East, and a lot of these arms are going to be aimed towards Israel as time goes on. And John Kerry, let's face it, he's the scumbag poster boy for the ignorance of the voters in Massachusetts. And last but not least, it's time for the liberal Jews to speak out and get their head out of their rear end. And where is Chucky Boy Schumer, the weasel, on this issue?
Thank you very much for that call, Russ. Here is now my challenge to liberal Jewish Americans. Are you Jewish first, or are you a liberal first? You got to pick. Now, are you with the dear leader, or are you with your fellow Jews in Israel? Because you can't be both. 617-266-6868. Frank, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Frank.
Listen, I listen to your show all the time, but that, I won't even use the word gentleman, that called in demanding that you show your papers infuriated me. I was one of the few people that was fortunate enough to be on that little tour last Saturday where you gave up your Saturday to educate a few of us on our forefathers. And for this man to come up and say those things and demand your papers when every time I turn around you're giving up a day or 2 days out of your weekend for causes that put nothing in your pocket, they're just doing the right thing. And for this guy to call up and demand that just infuriated me. As far as Israel is concerned, Hamas wants them to get in there. They want to turn it into a Vietnam type of war. That's the only chance they have. And we need to back these people and help them either politically or probably not militarily, but politically. We need to back them and let them know that there's someone there for them other than themselves.
Amen, Frank. Very well said. And thank you for that call. We should have Israel's back 110%. Their fight against Islamic militants, against Islamic jihadism, is our fight. Now, my friends, look, these are mini-me's minions. They're panicking. They're afraid. They're scared. They're afraid of this rally. Don't give them any importance. Trust me. They know that this rally could really put the knife into mini-me's plans. That's why they're calling me names. That's why they're calling, they're trying to say anything to try to upset me. Don't let them scare you. Trust me. They're all, you know what they are? They're all smoke and no fire. 617-266, all bark, no bite. Just like Mini-Me. Laura, thanks for holding. Welcome.
Oh, Jeff, I had to get my call in, my daily call.
How are you, Laura?
I'm doing all right. I got a day off. So, one thing, Kerry, they should have given the TSA pat down. You touch my junk, I'm going to call the cops.
Well, my understanding is the Egyptians, how do I say this, with that metal detector wand, they felt them up pretty good. 9:38 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, the voice of the resistance. 617-266-6868. You know what's incredible to me throughout all of this? Even has many Democrats shaking their heads in utter disbelief. You have Malaysian Airlines Flight 17 shot out of the sky, nearly 300 dead. You have potential Russian involvement. You have the civil war in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine, heating up. You now have ISIS essentially capturing and running 1/3 of Iraq. You have a major war in the Middle East between our closest ally, Israel, and these terrorists in the Gaza Strip, Hamas. and as basically the world is going to hell, as literally the global order is falling apart, what's the dear leader doing? Is he on the phone? Is he projecting American power? I swear to you, he's fundraising. It's unbelievable. So he's stuffing his face with cheeseburgers. Then he goes out on Sunday, he was golfing. Then he's playing pool. But now, over the last 3-4 days, he's hit one fundraiser after another. He was fundraising in Delaware. Then he went out to the West Coast. He hit a big fundraiser in Seattle. Then he went to Air Force One. He got back on Air Force One. He hit San Francisco, Los Angeles, $32,000 a plate dinner. Raise money, raise money, raise money. I mean, would it kill him to maybe, I don't know, go to the Situation Room? I don't know, see what the Israelis are up against? I don't know, back our Ukrainian allies in Kiev? I don't know, maybe try to stop Al-Qaeda from running, rampaging and running over all of Iraq? I mean, I don't know, dear leader. What do you think? Maybe you should do your job, dear leader? Instead, he's partying on our dime. It's cheeseburgers, it's golf, it's pool, it's fundraising, it's cracking one joke after another, and now facing this kind of withering criticism where everybody's shaking their head. He made one concession. No. I got to do this for the good of the country, according to the dear leader. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm going to do what I got to do. He canceled an appearance on the late night comedian show, Jimmy Kimmel. No, he said, I got to do it. No. There's a major war going on in the Middle East. People are getting shot out of the sky. No. I'm not going to do Jimmy Kimmel. I can't do but it's not that he canceled. They're just rescheduled. So when things die down a little bit, then he'll go back and do Jimmy. 617-266-6868 is the number. Jerry, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yes, good morning, Jeff. Long-time listener for over a year.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Nice to talk to you. Yes. Jeff, a couple of points. First of all, yes, betrayal, number one, to your two questions. Number two, did they have him take his shoes off? And to me, Jeff, he deserves it. He deserves a slap in the face. And here's one other thing that I want to bring up before you let me go. I was very pleased last night to watch Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City, on a 1-to-1 with Wolf Blitzer, putting Wolf Blitzer in his place once and for all about the flying into the Israeli airport. I thought that interview... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening, Jerry. I'm listening to every word you're saying.
I thought that interview with Wolf Blitzer spoke volumes about which side CNN and the media, where the media bias is aimed at. And I was very, very pleased with that one thing he did.
Jerry, they're fifth columnists. That's what I've learned. All my years in Washington, that's what I learned. These liberal journalists and TV anchors, that Wolf Blitzer, who to me is one of the biggest frauds in the media I've seen in my lifetime, they're fifth columnists. So they side with Marxists, they side with communists, they side with radical Islamists, anybody that's either anti-American or anti-Israel. And so notice, they always have sympathy for Hamas. And they say, but Hamas, how come Israel has bomb shelters and Hamas doesn't? No, Hamas has bomb shelters. The difference is in Israel, they put their citizens in bomb shelters. You know what Hamas does? They put their fighters and their terrorists in bomb shelters.
Oh, exactly. And the other thing I want to bring up, Obama's Obama's poor strategy concerning the Middle East is actually Obama's layer cake, if you look at it. Egypt, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Libya, and now ISIS is the icing on the Obama failed foreign policy cake.
Look, I'll tell you this. If Hamas could really bloody and humiliate Israel, I mean, that would be the cherry on Obama's sundae. He could look at the Middle East and say, that's my Middle East. I didn't just transform America, I transformed the Middle East. 617-266-6868 is the number. Comrade Juan, how you are, comrade? Hola, comrade.
Muy bien, CFA. Wanted by an Egyptian. Now, Jeff, we joke about this, but think of the political message that that's sending to the rest of the world. And the tech stepped on me earlier, but they do view this administration as terrorist. There's no two ways about it. And that's a very serious thing that they did. That has never happened in the history of the world, I don't think. Even during peace treaty talks or signing after wars, I don't think anyone has ever sat across from their opponent and searched them before they came in to sign the peace treaty or the war agreement or whatever. That's huge.
Oh, I know. And never mind an alleged ally.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, here's the thing. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, because, Mike, I love you. But yesterday's conversation, I didn't get the chance to say something. I urge Mike and everyone else out there to study the recent Icelandic revolution. One man, and I'm not saying I'm going to be that man, but one man brought his whole country together regardless of race, political affiliation, or anything else. They tossed all the politicians out. They arrested the ones involved with the bankers. They arrested the bankers. They reinstated, reaffirmed their constitution, and their GDP's cranking, and their debt is non-existent. This is what we need.
Bingo. Very well said, Comrade John. Speaking of Mike, how are you, my friend, and welcome.
Yeah, hey, Sean, you got a chance to speak twice yesterday, so don't beat that dead horse. And don't tell me I should read history, pal. I've lived history. And you want to start kumbaya with these Democrats, why don't you start with Therese Murray? Why don't you start with the other Democrats that you want to do kumbaya with, pal? Don't preach to me, pal. And all this phony, and sure, Jeff, I'm getting a little sick of this comedy with this guy. Let's talk serious. These people aren't going to come our way ever. Okay, Jeff?
Mike, now, I got the sense you were mad at me yesterday. Are you mad at me, Mike?
Jeff, I'm mad at this guy, John. He calls up trying to preach to me. I'll tell you what, pal. I'll meet you anywhere on a podium. I'll meet you at the and we'll debate Icelandic freedom. Who cares about Icelandic freedom, pal? Let's care about the streets of Boston. The black kids, where $4 billion could have helped those black kids in Roxbury and not the illegal immigrants. I'm not on the same page with you, pal. I'm on the same page with Paul. Okay? So don't give me this malarkey.
Mike, are you going to be at the rally on Saturday? Hello, Mike?
Hey, Jeff, by the way, I love you. And anyone ever hurts you, I hope I take a bullet for you. The fact of the matter is, I don't like anyone preaching to me that tells me I've lived history, pal. And if you want to match my history with yours, John, Juan, or whatever you are today, we'll do it.
Mike, we're all on the same side here, Mike. 617-266-6868. Tony, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome. Hello, Tony?
Yeah, it's Jeff.
Hey, Tony, you're on the air. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should question the Egyptians about patting down John Kerry. Just taking advice from Teresa Hines. She has a prenup with him, That's how much she trusts him,
I mean, honestly, if you were married to him and you were a Harris of a big fortune, would you trust him? I wouldn't. I'd have him sign I wouldn't marry him in the first place, but let that go. I would have him sign, an ironclad agreement. I'm talking the mother of all prenups. 617-266-6868. He signed it before he didn't sign it. 941 on the great WRKO. More with your calls next. 9:55 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. My friends, this is an absolutely stunning story. As you know, ISIS has now carved out a caliphate in about a third of Iraq. They control most of northern, central, western Iraq. And now they are not just imposing Sharia law. Now they are, in fact, executing Christians, expelling Christians, or forcing them to convert, pay a tax, or die. And now reports are coming out that maybe every Christian in Iraq will soon no longer exist. That every Christian will be wiped out of Iraq. There will be none left after ISIS is finished. It's in essence a genocide. And on top of the Christians being wiped out in Iraq, remember, this is the same group that came to power because the dear leader wouldn't sign a status of forces agreement. This is the same group that came to power because the dear leader deliberately turned his back on all of the gains that we made in Iraq. Check this one out. The next time any Democrat or liberal mentions war on women to you, all you say is this. The group, the Al-Qaeda group, the Islamist fanatics that he allowed to seize power in large parts of Iraq, has now ordered all of the women under the control of ISIS in their caliphate to undergo genital mutilation. Forced genital mutilation. Look at the peace. Oh, they're so peaceful. Oh, my God, look at the peace. Oh, these radical Muslims, they're so peaceful. Look what they do when they get power. Murder Jews, murder Christians, and then force their own women to undergo undergo genital mutilation. Yep. Oh, very civilized. Oh, very advanced. This is barbaric. This is sick. And my friends, I don't care what anybody says. This is on the feet and the hands of the dear leader. So don't talk to me about a war on women, because the people you enabled to get into power in Iraq are destroying the genitals of women as a policy. And you're going to lecture us on a war on women? They're literally waging one in Iraq. Thanks to you, dear leader. Bill, you're up next. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing today?
I am good. How are you, Bill?
Jeff, can I see your papers? Oh, but let that go. I'm only kidding. Hey, Jeff, you know what you just said. You know, if people are worried about their genitals, I would actually get out of that country. I would move, okay? I would get my butt up and out of that country. I don't want to...
Honestly, seriously, you have no idea what you're talking about. Do you know how poor many of these people are?
It's time.
They don't have a penny to their name. Many of them are trying to get out like these Christians. They're caught and they're slaughtered and they're hanged or they're tortured.
Hey, Jeff, if someone was going to cut my genitals off, I would find a way out of that.
Yeah. Bill, you can't even get out of the couch every morning just to get a job. And you're going to tell these people to walk thousands of miles? You're unbelievable. Bill, I keep telling you all the time, don't worry. Nobody's touching your welfare check. I got to go, my friends. You've been listening to Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. And remember, together, we're beating liberals. No, we're driving them crazy one day at a time. I'll see all of you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the great WRKO.
Talk in between.
Executing assigned host duties flawlessly because I can't do wrong.
This is AM 680 WRKO, Boston.